Anyone with kids or grandkids knows this is the start of the year. We all party at New Year's and celebrate, but if you got younger ones, school's back in, routines are back in. Oh, and speaking of kids, here's a picture of mine on my son's first day of grade 1. And so I thought I would just talk about questions that I've been getting. But before I do that, I just wanted to say, hey, this is the start of the new year. Summer is one of the most expensive times, save for Christmas. And so if you had a really expensive summer, let's not worry about it. Let's get back on track. Let's look at your budget, review it. Great time to come talk to me, review your financial plan. And so what are the questions I've been getting? Two really big ones, the Canadian election and tapering. And so the Canadian election doesn't get the same buzz the US does. The US is scheduled ahead of time. They have it every 4 years. Canada, we can have minority governments. The government can call it at any time when they think they can get in again. And so we don't have the big lead up. And this one was a pretty surprise election, actually. Things I'd be looking for, though, no matter what party got in, and I don't think the markets are really going to react one way or the other no matter who gets in. I think it's just going to be a non-event. But when the parties that do get in, whatever they're saying now, they're going to have to fund a lot of this spending and this deficit we have. So I'm looking for higher taxes, possible spending cuts. Governments all have these promises before they get in, and then once they're in, things kind of change. And so I think nothing's off the table. We could see a higher capital gains tax. We see a wealth tax. There's all kinds of stuff that they're talking about. Who knows if it'll come to fruition? If it does, I'll keep you posted. But taxes are going to be a big thing, I think, in their first budget. Tapering. Tapering has to do with the government, Canadian and US, have been buying bonds. And that kept interest rates down. So if you've gotten a mortgage recently, wow, you're laughing with interest rates. And so what they're going to do is they're going to start stopping that tapering. And so that means you're probably going to see interest rates start to rise. And so if you're into GICs, you're really happy. If you're borrowing, you're not so happy. Generally, if we see bond rates go up, the markets don't like that in the short term. So you could see some up and downs. Speaking of downs, we've had a really good year this year. Don't be surprised if you see a couple statements with some negative results on it. That's normal. That's to be expected. We're not trying to time the market, but there's going to be times when you lose money, and so that's normal. That's expected. I don't worry about that. I got a long-term focus, so just be prepared for that. And so, how do we avoid things and worrying about that? Don't check your statements. I had a new client come to me and reviewed the stuff at high risk. And so I asked, what is your risk tolerance? Low risk. Well, why the disconnect? Well, I don't check my investments. And so their investment risk could be a little bit higher, I guess, didn't pay attention, and things have just really had a really good performance or really good lift on their investments. And so if you don't check your investments, you can have a higher risk tolerance, you can sleep better at night. If you're checking them every day, you know what? You're gonna worry, you're gonna have anxiety. So that's my one big tip. Please follow me on social media. I've got lots of content coming out. I think it's going to really benefit you. And if you're not a client of mine, love to speak with you. Please reach out. If you are a client of mine, please share this with someone you know that would benefit from it. Coworkers, friends, families. I'd love to connect.